This is the Blade Master, and this is a what if about not Naruto or One Piece. My One Piece where Naruto if he goes back in time. I'm having to write this blog, so I'll get back to that in a little bit once I figured out what to do for it. I know what I'm like mage plan, but just where I'm up to right now, I'm a little stuck. But this one, you'll find out it's a My Hero Academia one, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. One of you in the comments decide what to give this, but if the title I give it is good, I'll keep it. But here's the This is what if Endeavour or Enji Todoroki was Deku's father, Izuku Midoriya's father, in a bar in Hosu City. Um, Endeavour, Enji Todoroki was sitting away in a corner thinking about the patrols he did today. It was really hard. He had to track down a bunch of rapists, but he didn't. Wasn't the easiest thing for him to succeed in, but he did it. He was happy. He saved about 15 women from being sexually assaulted, and he saved 20 kids from being kidnapped. It was a good day in the hearts of young people. He saw a green-haired woman that looked like his sweetheart from when he was in UA High, Inko Midoriya. And then he saw the other woman. It's Mizuki Bakugo. So that must be Inko Midoriya. And Enji got up and walked over to them. Would you like me to buy you some piss or alcohol? Asked Enji. Inko and Mitsuki turned to see Enji. Yes, please, since you're a pro, chuckled Inko. Now, Inko, Mitsuki, and Enji sat away drinking all night, talking about how they are, and how Mizuki had a boyfriend, but he had decided to go sleep with one of her best friends, so now she's alone. But she thinks she might be pregnant, but she doesn't know. She's testing herself tomorrow. So the next morning, Inko Midoriya woke up. She turned to her side to see Enji. Shit, is all she thought. He's a married man. He has 3 kids at home. Oh, I feel bad for him. I don't want him to get divorced because of our drinking problems. Enji woke up and saw he was holding on to Inko Midoriya's breasts. This isn't going to affect us in any way, asked Enji. Inko just shook her head. No. If you go home, never do this again, even though it was good remembering the times and doing what we did when we were in UA. But don't think Ray would like her man sleeping around. Go home, be a better father, be a better hero, train the young next generation, or your kids at least. But this will probably be the last time we see each other. So bye, Enji, said Inko. Enji just nodded and went home. When he arrived, he saw Rei, Toya, Fuma, and Shoto, and Natsu, sitting down at the table. Where have you been, father? Asked Toya. He sat down and looked at her. I'm going to tell you the truth, the honest truth. I got drunk last night after patrol, ran into the sweetheart, the person I dated during UA, and her friend. And next thing I remember, I woke up in her bedroom this morning without protection, and I'm pretty sure we slept together. And after that, I just know I'm not a good father, forcing you to be better than all my training years. I want to be a better father, a better hero. So if you want to end it with me, and so I'm never around, don't want to see me, I can accept that because I've been a terrible person, terrible husband, and terrible father. Ray just looked at him. She was pissed. So you slept with Inko after all this time? I thought you would have grown up. But if you accept this as the one and only time to be a better father, I can accept this in one condition, said Ray. What is it? Asked Enji. You raise our next kid, because I'm pregnant, to be better. Not like training him the whole time to be better than All Might. You'll train him to be a better hero for us, for the future generation, is all that Ray said. Yes, I will. Enji just looked at Ray. Good, because once I have this kid, I'll be going back in hero business. So when you're not on patrol, you can train our children to be good heroes, said Ray. Everyone there just looked at each other. Does that mean we might have another sibling? Asked Toya. Hopefully not, because then that means that you won't get his full attention. Well, you will, but at the same time it won't be the same, said Ray. Okay, said Toya. 9 months later, Inko and Mizuki were sitting in the hospital. Mizuki was holding Katsuki Bakugo, and Inko was holding her newborn baby, Izuku Todoroki, Izuku Midoriya, what the world will know him as, but not after his father's name. So, Hugh and Enji actually had a kid. He's going to be powerful, but not as powerful as my Katsuki, called Mitsuki. Now we're going to have another time skip. Midoriya, Izuku Midoriya, Inko Midoriya, Katsuki Bakugo, and Mitsuki Bakugo all walked to the quirk doctor. Katsuki had unlocked his explosion quirk about 2 weeks ago on Izuku's birthday. So we were taking Izuku to the quirk doctor to see if he has a quirk. But if he does, it'll be some fire type or telekinesis type. But he doesn't know. So that is it. They walk in, and after being there for 2 hours, the quirk doctor walks out and shows the toe scan. Looks like Izuku Midoriya does not have a quirk, unless it is a dormant one. And that must mean if it's a dormant one, it will be stronger, more powerful than a normal quirk. So if I was you, I would train the body physically and mentally to be strong. And if he does have an unknown quirk, it will be powerful. But other from that, he is quirkless. So, sorry young Izuku, you look to be quirkless. Izuku cried the whole way home. But I want to be a hero and I need a quirk. Katsuki Bakugo just looked at him. Stop being a little sooky lala. You can be a quirkless hero. All you got to do is train yourself. And then you'll be the number 2 hero while I be the number 1 hero. Can you go and be like that? Asked Katsuki. Izuku just nodded his head. I can. So over the next 4.5 years, Izuku Midoriya learns to use a dual-wielding fighting stance with blades. He trains his body and mind, where he's let's say he's 14, so it'd be I'll say 9 years, so he's 13. His body is out of not even about 25-year-old in the strong. That's how he's built. His brains is that of almost, not Einstein, but a really smart person. He's sitting down with his tonso and his katana at his hip. He's built himself up resiliently because he gets bullied for being quirkless by all the kids, even Katsuki. But when he gets home, him and Katsuki train. Katsuki and Izuku said it would be a good way to train Izuku for all the harsh realities that could come from being a hero that doesn't have a quirk. What Izuku had to go home, not go home, but he was walking down a tunnel by himself because Katsuki got detention after school detention because he decided to finally be nice and protect Izuku from the bullies. So he got into a fight, and it was not good. The kid's been put in the hospital in a possible coma. So as he was walking, Izuku didn't notice the sludge behind him, and as he stepped over the drain, he was engulfed over a sludge villain type person. And for 10 whole minutes, Izuku Midoriya was struggling to breathe. He had passed out about the 10-minute mark and walked home. And as he had fallen asleep, because he had left his blades in school because Katsuki said he would bring them as a favour. And also he had to get checked out to make sure there's no blood on them. So the school was busy checking the blades. You know, you're really weak, said the sludge villain to an unconscious Izuku Midoriya. As he said that, a Detroit smashed into the sludge villain, saving Izuku Midoriya from suffocation. Ooh, young boy is asleep. So All Might, who had saved him, had put the sludge villain in a bunch of 2-liter bottles, and he had signed the notebook that Izuku Midoriya had on a lot of classes, on a lot of quirks and heroes. Young boy must be very intelligent for his age, strong. But he saw Izuku's build and said, if he's quirkless, I can give him one for all. And he can accept it straight away, and over the year, depends on how old he is, he can use it to its fullest capability with the way he is. But after a 5-minute nap, Izuku woke up and saw All Might. All Might looked at him and chucked him his notebook. I signed it for you on my page, but if you want to know, I've got a couple questions, asked All Might. Yes, asked Izuku. Are you quirkless? Yes, and I'm going to be a quirkless hero. I don't care about having a quirk. I'll be the number 2 hero being quirkless. I don't care what anyone says. They can't stop me from fulfilling my dreams. And if I have a quirk, it will be my own. Because the quirk doctor did say it could be dormant. And I will use my own brain strength. So, All Might, I'll see you around, said Izuku. As All Might said that, as Izuku said that, he accidentally grabbed a hold of All Might as All Might took off. Oh, sorry for that, said Izuku once they landed on the floor, an apartment building. Steam rolled off All Might. What's all this steam? Asked Izuku. It is my true form, said All Might when he transformed to reveal his skeleton-like form. All Might rolled up his shirt to show his wounds. I got this from a fight from my arch nemesis 5 years ago. It wasn't made public because of how devastating it was. So that I can only do hero work 5 hours because I trained myself to be better. And also had some organ transplants. But if I go out of my time, I do lose time. And it could be 4 hours and 3 hours, said All Might. What? So you can't do hero work for the rest of the day because of me? Asked Izuku. Basically, said All Might. Sorry for that, All Might, said Izuku. Izuku walked away, and All Might and Izuku didn't realize that Izuku had accidentally let the sludge villain out. Izuku had gone back to the school to grab his katanas because he didn't see Bakugo go past Katsuki. So he just walked around. After going back, he saw Mount Lady, Kamiya Woods, Death Arms, all standing there, and explosions were heard. So he ran up to see Katsuki was enveloped in the sludge villain. He saw the heroes weren't doing anything, so he unsheathed his katana and tanto and ran at the villain. All the heroes told him to get back, it's dangerous. And next thing he knows, Izuku Midoriya was behind the sludge villain, cut a hole out just to rip Katsuki out, and out came Katsuki Bakugo. Thank God you're still alive, said Izuku. Katsuki was just looking at him and spat. You couldn't have came sooner, could you? The villain attacked Deku, but as Deku turned around and flames, green blackish flames almost. They had a hint of black, hint of silver and reddish flames shot out from Izuku's hand, his palm. He was engulfed in the flames. His katana and tanto had the flames on them, and it melted the blade and broke them. They were just cheap blades. Izuku fired without unknowingly, sent a stream of fire, and it burnt the sludge villain. The sludge villain had gone into his humanish form, almost. No, yeah, he was sent down. The flames had burnt him. Kamiya Woods had sealed him in like a wood type barrier, and he was put back in bottles. Katsuki looked at Midoriya. You unlocked your quirk, finally. I guess I did, said Izuku, who passed out. 20 minutes later, reporters were asking Katsuki Bakugo questions. What's your name? What school do you go to? Katsuki just looked. Can't remember. Because, I'm so cool. My school is boring, said, Katsuki. Midoriya woke up, and the reporters ran to him. What's your name? Young hero asked, a reporter. My name is Izuku Midoriya. Why did you run in to save him? Asked Mountain Lady. Because you heroes weren't doing anything, and a true hero always runs in. Doesn't matter the situation if they have to do hand-to-hand combat. Why did you use your quirk when you don't have a license? Asked Mountain Lady. Izuku just looked at him. I just manifested my quirk just then. I've been diagnosed as quirkless this whole time, said Izuku. Wow, you're really strong for just manifesting. It must have been taking a while, said Death Arms. Yeah, I guess it was, but I'm okay with having I was going to become a quirkless hero anyways, with my katanas and strength, my swords, my katana and my tanto. Death Arms just looked at Izuku. You burnt them. You melted the blades, said Death Arms. Mizuki just cried. No, I can't have. No, said Izuku. You did, young boy, said Death Arms. No, they were my birthday my presents. That Izuku just started out crying. Katsuki just looked at them. The blades. He grabbed the handles and the sheaths. Well, the sheaths were burnt. Him and Izuku walked home. It was sour. The whole walk home, Izuku was crying because they were his blades. Over in the Todoroki house, him, Enji, and Ray were sitting down, about to go out for patrol when they saw the news. Look, on the news, it was young hero saves friend, cousin, someone they know. We're reporting in from near UA. Yeah, I forgot what. Yeah. reporting in from UA. Enji and Ray looked. What's your name, young boy? My name is Izuku Midoriya. And it goes, and they saw that Ray turned to Enji. Inko had a kid, and he has a flame quirk. He had red and silver flames, and his hair looked red. Izuku has, well, green hair and red in it. It was, it's like Todoroki's, but it's more refined and calm. Yeah, it's a bit messy with one, with like top being green and the bottom being red. You had a kid, and you didn't tell us, and you didn't even support them. Angie just shook his head. I didn't even know she was pregnant. This is the first I'm hearing about it. I swear, Ray. Ray called Mitsuki to ask for Inko's number because they didn't get it. Hello, who's this? Asked Mizuki. It is Ray Todoroki. Tell me, is Izuku Midoriya Anji's son? Mizuki just, the phone line went dead. It was still on. Inko! Yes? Asked Mitsuki. What did the blood test say of, the Izuku? Who's the father? You already know it's Enji Todoroki, remember? Remember, we said we'd keep it a secret from him because he doesn't need to worry about us. Izuku's fine. But didn't you see the news? Izuku and Katsuki were on the news. Maybe Enji and Ray called up and saw, and I think we've been lying to him or something. We just need to make sure. They're on the phone right now, said Mizuki. Tell them that it isn't Enji's kid. Ray, it was on loudspeaker, and you kind of told him yourself, said Mizuki. Ray and Enji looked at each other. And they went down. They waited for Shoto, Toya, Natsui, and Fuma to rock up. And can we come see and meet Izuku? Asked Enji. Whatever, said Inko on the other line. Enji, Toya, the whole Todoroki family arrived at Inko's house. It was just a normal house. She had got a proper job doing little pro hero work and also working as a nurse to help around. She has a nice house she had built for her and Izuku. There's a pretty big backyard, but it suits them. Enji knocked on the door. He didn't know what to expect, because him and Inko never really talked. Maybe he doesn't even know I'm his father. 4 years ago, when Izuku was looking around at Blades. Mom, who's my dad? Because everyone else has a dad, and unless you get like a sperm donator thingy, who's my dad? Asked Izuku. We'll tell you when you get home. Later that night, Izuku had his new blades, and he was sitting. So who's my father? Asked Izuku. Your father is Endeavour, the number 2 hero. Me and him used to be sweethearts in UA, but we didn't talk much because he became a pro hero and moved to Hosu, where I decided to stay around here and become a nurse and help out where I can, do little crimes. But, yeah. And then we met up one night at a bar, on accident, in Hosu, because we were having girls' night out, and then me and him slept together. So, not to worry, he doesn't know about you, because I don't want him to, because you're my son. We don't need his help, because he doesn't have a part in your life, said Inko. Angie walked in the house, and there was photos of all pro heroes, Izuku and Inko with Mizuki and Katsuki on their birthdays. But Endeavour doesn't know who. He knows who Katsuki is because of the news, but he doesn't know them. Wow. They seem to have a pretty good life. There is like fake blades and guns also on the floor. Inko walked out and saw. Oh, you actually came? Asked Inko. Mitsuki just got up with the tea. I told you he would come. That's why I prepared the tea. I just didn't know how long, so I wasn't making more. Or who are these little kids? Asked Mizuki. This is my family. I don't know. Ah, so you brought your family to see the kid from the one night stand. You're kind of funny that way, said Mizuki. Where is young Izuku? I want to meet my other son, asked Enji. He would be somewhere around the house, maybe. I don't know. Is he trying to get into UA? I can put him through the recommendation. Izuku walked out without a shirt from the shower. Mom, what's for dinner? Inko just looked at him. We're having ramen. Ooh, good. So I'm going to be doing a lot of community service over the next couple of months, cleaning up a couple of beaches to be able to buy myself a new set of blades. I'm thinking about getting 2 good katanas made so I can work around them. And I'm also going to be training my quirk, said Izuku. Katsuki walked out. He had a smirk on his face, and he had a bow staff. Why don't you just use a bow staff? It'd be so much cooler, said said Katsuki. Izuku just shook his head. Because katanas slice, and they're a lot easier to attack people with. They can block, damage, and do what else I need. Plus, I reckon it's so much better than a bow staff. They're blunt. Yeah, they can do the job, but at the same time, I don't want them to do. I want to be able to incapacitate my enemies because I don't have full control over my quirk. Remember, it just manifested, so I need a lot of practice with it, and I can damage and deal attacks to anything almost using my katanas. So, and Yuzuki had no shirt on. You could see his six-pack and his muscles. He turned to see Endeavour, the Todorokis. Mom, what are they doing here? Asked, Izuku. They came to see you. They saw you on the news. And they come to see if you're actually Endeavour's son. Izuku just looked at him and said, I got the red hair, I got the flame quirk. Isn't that enough to know I'm your son? And Mom can show you the test. And if we're done, you can leave now. I haven't had you in my life, so I don't need you in my life. You got a perfect family by the looks of it. So I'll be seeing you around, said Izuku. He looked at Katsuki. You want to go do some combat training? No quirks? Said Katsuki. Izuku just nodded. Yeah. Grab the other bow staff from my room. We'll also use them. Okay. And Izuku and Katsuki went outside and started training. Well, combat fighting. Fist to fist and also bow staff. I'm thinking about getting Katsuki to use the bow staff. I don't know yet. NG just looked. Can we stay for dinner? Asked NG. Inko just looked to Mitsuki. Is it going to be enough? Or do I have to order some? Asked Inko. Yeah, that should be enough, but wasn't expecting people, said Mizuki. Ray turned to Mizuki. So, how long have you and Inko been married? Asked Ray. This shocked everyone. We're not married. We're basically family. She's over every night, I'm over at her house. Because, we're both single moms whose kids are the same age, who train, fight together, and as close as siblings. So we always around each other. With Katsuki and me and Zuki do patrol together, almost. Well, not really. I'm at the hospital most nights, and she's, well, at the hospital as well, being a like security guard. So, um, introduced us to the kids. Asked Inko. Ray just nodded. She pointed to Toya. This is Toya. He's our oldest. The one with he also has a blue flame flyer. He had trained himself to that. He's in UA right now, 3rd year. Pointed to Fuma. This is our daughter, Fuma. She is in general course. She's a 3rd year, 2nd year. And this is Natsu. He and Toya him and Toya are both twins. And he's in the 2nd year course for UA, but he's thinking about he's in class 2B, and Toya's in class 3A. Toya did the recommendation, Natsu did the recommendation, and Shoto's going to be doing the recommendation. He's our youngest. Well, actually, he's me and Angie's youngest together, but Angie's youngest would be Midoriya, right? Asked, Fuya. Not Fuya, Ray. Yeah, he is, but he doesn't count Endeavour or Angie, whatever you want to call it. He doesn't count him as a father because he wasn't there in his life. But he does have a father. Not really a father, but just a mentor. He's sensei. Him and Katsuki sensei are like father figures to him. Well, he was in prison now for unlegal fighting rings. He trained, some of his students were, fighters. And he was the one who trained them and set it up for them. He was like a father figure for him, but he went to prison a couple of years ago. About a year now. But Katsuki and Izuku are always training non-stop. Izuku and Katsuki both are the strongest, fastest, and smartest in their classes without using quirks. Izuku only has Katsuki as his only friend, cousin type thing. Can give you a little heads up. Izuku has a major temper. When he wants to, he will be brutal, rude, and arrogant. I guess he gets that from Enji. But he also has his sweet side. He doesn't have his emotions like me, mainly because he cut him off once he became quirkless. Almost. He doesn't want to make anyone sad or angry. He's there to make you happy. So he will do what he can to make you happy. Katsuki is loud, like a Bakugo. And, yeah. There's some other things, but you don't need to know about that. So, let's eat when dinner's ready. Angie, Ray, and Shoto, along with Toya, Natsu, and Fuma, went outside to see, their training outside of, went outside to look at, the training that Katsuki, and Izuku were doing. Angie was surprised because they were both shirtless and they both had a six-pack and they were fighting like no tomorrow. Wow, they're good, said Ray. Yeah, we kind of make sure he's always training. Can't have him being a weakling, can we now? Said Mizuki. Okay, so when do we get to see the training and weightlifting and whatnot? Shoto just was arrogant-ish. He didn't like the way that Izuku was fighting. He didn't like how he acted. He didn't like anything about him. What makes him so special? Asked Shoto. Shoto. He turned. Enji and Ray both turned to Shoto. He is your stepbrother, and he has not known a father figure. That's why we're here. We want to take him in for the next 10 months to train him, along with his quirk. But we need his permission and Inko's permission. That's why we came here. Enji turned to Inko. Can I take him for 10 months to train his quirk? And also some other things. I can give him a new set of blades. Asked Enji. Izuku and Katsuki both walked over. What's going on, Mum? Asked Izuku, I mean. Inko just turned. Endeavour here wants to take you for 10 months to train your quirk. Would you allow him to? Asked. Inko. Okay, I'll do it on one condition. Everyone was shocked that he was actually doing it. What's the condition? Asked Endeavour. You bring Katsuki with me. He is my training partner. He is my best and only friend. If he doesn't go, I don't go. Unless you bring some pretty ladies over. But I'll have to let him come over as well. So, he has to come over, said Izuku. You like women? Said Katsuki. Izuku just turned around and punched Katsuki in the face. Of course I like women. I'm a man. I'm not into men like you. They just started bickering. Used to, said Endeavour. We can take yous. So for the next 10 months, Izuku trains with Endeavour, Ray, Shoto. Not really Shoto. Shoto didn't really like Izuku, mainly because he was getting... He got to demand and bring a friend over that... Shoto didn't like Izuku or Katsuki. Toya and Natsu and Fuma liked Izuku. Well, he is their brother, but at the same time, he's good to chat to. And because without using the quirk, he took all 4 Todorokis on and had them on their ass. In 5 seconds flat. Their fighting's not good. Using their quirks, he showed them that using your quirk is not everything. And he got 2 new blades. You can give me names and what they look like. He got 2 new katanas that he has wrapped in their case, but he doesn't know what they look like because he said he'll open them and use them for the UA entrance exam. So Katsuki got along with Toya and Fuma and Natsu mainly because he's been there for Izuku. So, quick question asked like I say, Shoto doesn't really like him because they think that because he couldn't use his quirk in the first fight with them and they beat him. He was not happy with that. He lost to him, like a weakling. He has to be strong because he's a Todoroki. All Todorokis are strong. His siblings are all in UA, and he lost to one. He didn't even use his quirk. He was not happy with this. Why? Why are you so much better than me? Asked Shoto to Izuku. Izuku just looked at him. I don't know. You don't put effort into your training would probably be one reason. You just rely on your quirk to beat people, which I don't. Using your quirk essentially is child's play. If you only use your quirk, it's a one-trick pony, is what happened on the first day. So over the 10 months, Fuma and Katsuki Bakugo grew to like each other and grew a crush on each other. During the 6 months, Katsuki Bakugo asked her out on a date, and she said yes. And Ray and Enji both liked the idea of their daughter actually getting out. And they agree and like Katsuki. Yeah. But Katsuki and Izuku were both put out of their normal high school and went to the high and went to the same one that Shoto goes to. for a year. But every day after school they train, and they showed why they're physically stronger. When I said earlier, he's let's just say I'm not gonna have what Deku be so strong. Well, buff. I mean, he's strong. He's not so buff. He's like, I don't know, maybe. He looks how he does at the 10 months. That's how he was. But now he's a bit more buffer. He has some more muscles, and he's a little stronger. A lot stronger. Using his quirk, and yeah, he so yeah. At the 10 months, Katsuki and Izuku both returned to home. Ingo and Mitsuki both cheered. They had the greatest time ever. They held a celebration for him. Now we go to the next day when Izuku and Katsuki both walked into Year A. And they sat down. They both passed with flying colours the entrance exam. It was really easy, said Katsuki. Not entrance exam, I mean the written portion. Izuku and Katsuki both finished it within 2 hours when it's a 4-hour exam. And they sat down and played cards and talked about quirks with President Mike for the other 2 hours. They was standing out front of... They sat in the stadium with all the other kids now. Yeah, Izuku still mumbles, but not much. Not loudly. So they were standing there. President Mike looked out and said, there are 3 types of robot. You have the 1-pointer, 2-pointer, and 3-pointer. And you will use them to score points to get in. And just remember, the top 40th highest scores get into Class 1A and Class 1B. And we choose who goes into what class to make it even for everyone. So remember, you won't be in the same battlegrounds as people you know, so you don't team up with each other. But so yeah. But Izuku was mumbling to himself about how the robots were built. A person with glasses and dark bluish hair raised his hand after President Mike had finished his speech. What is it, young applicant, whatever number the glassed boy had? On the sheet here, it says that there's 4 types of villains. If UA High got it wrong, it is not acceptable for the best school in Japan. Said the boy. Thank you for telling me that, but if you had let me finish after everyone had stopped talking, I would have told you that there is a 4th one, but it's a 1-pointer. It is, you don't get any points from it. So if I was you, I would leave it alone unless you're tempted to fight something that could waste your whole time while you fight other people. I mean robots. And also, if you fight other students, possible students, candidates, you will be kicked out for unnecessary violence. And then Ida also turned, the boy, who we know as Ida, Tenya, looked to Izuku and said, "Stop your mumbling, it is really annoying. If you're here just for fun, get out. Some of us actually want to be heroes and listen, so please be quiet," said the boy. Izuku just looked at him and glared at him. "I will rip you to shreds if you tell me what to do. I don't care if I have to get kicked out. It is part of my abilities to analyze. I don't care if you want to talk all your high and mighty. 4 Eyes, be quiet." If you had paid attention like you're supposed to, you could have waited for him to explain that there was a 4th robot. Instead, you had to jump to conclusions because you think you're so much better than everyone else. Some of us actually train. You, by the looks of it, your brother is, a hero? Pro-hero? Ingium or whatever? I don't care. you're from a high paid school. You have, just from the look of you, you look like an eater. So rich people. Just because you're rich, you think you're all so much better than everyone else. Well, give you something to talk about. Keep your mouth shut and watch the actual people. I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to socialize. I'm here to complete my school years, become a pro hero, and make sure every civilian's safe. I'm not here to talk about how good my quirk is or how good I am. I'm here to save people and learn how to save people. I'm not here to mess around. You just shut up, said Izuku. Katsuki high-fived Izuku. That's what I'm talking about. President Mike just was going on about how cool and how right he was. So all the buses got put down to where they're supposed to be. Izuku was standing. Since I'm going to continue on through the entrance exam, Izuku stood waiting outside of his battleground sea. He had two katanas. One was a black sheathed one. On it, handle hilt was like flame patterns, silver flames. It had a circular ring around it. Its blade was black. And his other katana, the one that will be used in his left hand, is got red diamonds in the hilt and is a normal black katana. Izuku has one on each hand and is ready to go. President Mike doesn't even say start. As soon as Izuku unsheathes his blade, he runs straight in. Go, 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 said President Mike. By the time everyone got there, Izuku had demolished, not even used his quirk, but used his katanas to slice in half 4 one-pointers, and he was on the move. He jumped up in the air and started chasing after, looking for him. Over in the teacher's box watching. That boy there didn't even wait for President Mike to say go. He is a good hero candidate because you don't run in when you're told to go. You just go. He fought first, and then they looked over to the battleground where Katsuki Bakugo was, and there he was. He was fighting and demolishing one-pointers and two-pointers. He was surrounded. Yes, this is what I like. A good challenge, said Katsuki to himself. After 9 minutes, 2019, let's make it the entrance exam went for 20 minutes. The one-pointer arrived. Izuku had saved people that were counted and took out. He had finally used his quirk after 10 minutes. He counted to himself. He scored about 100 villain points, and he saved 10 people, all different quirks that were surrounded by one-pointers, two-pointers, and three-pointers. He saw the 0-pointer. This looks like a challenge. He cracked his neck and went to charge, but he heard a loud help, and there was Tenya Eater. He was stuck on the rubble, and he was he had some debris on his leg, so he couldn't move. He had a one-pointer that had he had 3-pointer, 2-pointer, and 1-pointer all surrounding him. Target acquired, and the 0-pointer shaking buildings caused some debris to fall on him. That is how he got caught, because he had run out of time using his engines. Whatever, said Izuku. Izuku burnt the 1-pointer, 2-pointer, 3-pointer, 4-pointer, not 4-pointer, all the pointers that surrounded Tenya. He jumped up and kicked the debris off Tenya, and then charged at the 0-pointer. He engulfed his katana in his right hand that had the silver flame pattern on it. A silver flame engulfed it. He jumped up in the air and sliced down, cutting a hole in the ground through the 1-pointer. It had been so high, melting point that it had melted straight through the 0 pointer in the teacher's box. He full on demolished that 0 pointer. Did he even put effort in? Said All Might Aizawa Shoto Aizawa just looked tired. He's a problem child. Over with Katsuki Bakugo. He had jumped up on top of the a 0 pointer and blasted its head off. He just smirked to himself. I don't think you could beat that, could you? Izuku is all that he said. But little did Katsuki had gathered up 130 villain points and saved 10 hero people. For the next following week, Izuku and Katsuki had finished cleaning up cleaned up the beach that they were going to before Enji and the Todorokis took them in for the 10-month training period. So we should be getting the mail home, hey, today? Asked Katsuki. Yeah, I reckon we will, but hopefully we got good scores. How much do you think you scored? Asked Izuku. Katsuki just chuckled to himself. At least a good 200 points, because I'm just that good. How about you, Izuku? I don't know. We'll both open them together. They got home, being nighttime. It was at the Bakugo household. They both stood there. Mum, both of them said, what's going on? They showed the UA letters. These arrived, so we're waiting. They both sat down on the lounge. Everyone there. They both opened them at the same time, and there was Nezu for both of them. As you can see, said Nezu, you have got into Class 1A. You have got into UA High. You're in Class 1A. In the bottom of the envelope, after this projector, you'll see what books you need to get and what classes you need to get. Also, this is for Izuku. You scored first place with 150 villain points and 68 hero points. Or 100, yeah. So, never mind. He got 150 villain points and 68 hero points. So, he got 200 points in total. You have beaten all the previous records, mostly with your villain points. You got the highest ever with 208 points, over with Katsuki. You got second place with 130 villain points and 60 hero points. So you got 90 points, 190 points, being the second highest ever. The old highest used to be 140, but you shattered that. They both looked at each other. They had both got into Class 1A and both shattered the records that All Might, Endeavour, and every other hero had set beforehand. We're just that cool. Also, the dorm, Izuku Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugo, they're both saying, we would like you to come into UA tomorrow to discuss an email we got from Izuku Midoriya. So please come tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Okay, said Izuku. Izuku texted Enji that he got in, beating All Might's record, and got 208 points. And Katsuki texted Fuma that he got into Class 1A. So, yeah. The next morning, Katsuki Bakugo and Izuku Midoriya, Izuku Todoroki, he thinking about changing his name because his father's had a big role in his life lately, but he doesn't know. He might change it to Midoriya Todoroki because that's how he is. They were both standing there. So, Nezu, who was standing next to All Might and Aizawa, We had got an email from you, Izuku Midoriya, that you wanted that because along with the normal classes, you wanted a weapons class, which we might not be able to do unless we get the Pro Hero Edge Shot to help train. But we need to get a certain amount of people. We need to get all of at least 10 people to want to do it from class 1A and every other hero class. Or we need 20 people at least, to get it. And also your second request, to get dorms for everyone, so it's easier to get to and from school. We have them being built at this moment. They won't be ready for about 2 months, maybe. So after the sports festival and after internships, you'll be able to move into dorms. But until then, you'll have to live at home. Is that okay? Asked, Azuku. Asked Nezuko. Yes, that is fine. I was just bringing it up so it's easier for students to get to and from class, and because I don't really want to decide where to live because my parents are, not really together because they're one night stand thingy, and so I didn't want to choose because they're trying to get me to choose right now. Yes, we can accept that. And then he turned to Katsuki Bakugo. Now, we know you were dating our second year. Well, she's going to be third year now because after 10 months. We know you were dating a higher up student in the third year. With the dorms, we also got the email, same thing from Izuku Midoriya. I take it you were close, asked Nezu. Yes, we're very close, and I sent that email just in case you didn't get it from my cousin over here. But you were going on about me and Fuma's relationship. Yeah. With the dorms, you will not be able to sleep in the same dorms once it's set up, and also your relationship cannot get meddled in with the school. And when you do internships, you cannot just choose it because that's the internship she's doing. You have to set your own path, and if it gets in the way of your schooling, we'll disband the relationship," said Nezu. Katsuki just nodded. "I can accept that," said Katsuki. "Now go home. You have a week until you come to school." "Okay," said Katsuki Bakugo. A week later, Katsuki Bakugo and Izuku Midoriya were Midoriya Todoroki now. They were standing out front of Class 1A in their school uniform. Izuku didn't like the tie, so he's not wearing it. And Katsuki had his tie on. He looked... What am I going on about? Yeah, they had their normal uniform. They heard loud talking, so they walked in and they saw Tenya Ida having a go at this boy who had purple hair, saying you have to respect females and whatnot. Hi, I am Tenya Ida," said Tenya. "We already knew that," said both of them. Kirishima, Mina, Tsui, Sue, Zero, Sato, and Yama. All of the Class 1A were talking about how they shattered their records and how manly they all are. Zuki just looked at Katsuki, and they walked back out. "Who are we going to make friends with?" asked Izuku. "That redhead, he looks pretty cool. That's Zero guy with the tape-ish looking arms. They're about the only ones I really care about right now. So, yeah, we'll decide on who we are friends with later. But right now, let's just go into class and do introductions. Or whatever." They were both sitting down next to each other, waiting for class to start. The door opened, and there was a yellow sleeping bag. It was Azawa. He stood up. "The class is quiet. Better than I thought." He chucked them their gym uniform. Meet me at training ground beta, and I'll meet. And if you don't come, don't expect to be in the class. So they walked out. Everyone was standing there waiting for the quirk test. Well, they're waiting. Ozawa appeared and looked at Izuku. I want you to throw this softball as best as you can using your quirk. But first, what was your highest score without using your quirk? Asked Aizawa. 100 meters. 105 if I push it. And then he turned. Okay then, use your quirk and I want to see how far it goes. Because Izuku's can't really do much with his quirk. Make it farther. What to do. He has really good control over his quirk now, training with the Todorayukis. He enhanced his whole arm up from his shoulder down to his arm in flames. And it was changing from red to silver. It was changing colours to heat it up. He had it a full, dark silver, and through the bowl. It had reached 100 meters. Not 100, it reached. Everyone looked shocked at this strength and how far it went. It went a whole 1.2 Ks. So the next test go through and it gets back to the softball throwing, and everyone did different. But also Azawa did do the expulsion test, but we all know it's a lie. Wow. The whole class saw the rankings. First was Momo Yara, a chick female named Momo. Second was Izuku. Third was Katsuki. Fourth was Shoto. And then they didn't really look at the rest. Then they saw who was last. Great boy, Mineta. So Aizawa just turned to him. It was a lie to get you to do the best of your abilities. There's books for what classes you will need, and info on what you missed out with counselors and all that today. I'll see you tomorrow. The next morning, because Inko and Mizuki both dropped off Mizuki and Katsuki. They had went to go meet up with Fuma first to talk about stuff, and then they rocked up to class about a minute and a half before Azawa. But when they walked in, they heard something they didn't want to hear. Mineta and a boy named Kamimaru, almost, is what they think. His name was Lightning Boy, Electro Boy, is what Azuki and Katsuki both named. And Mineta was talking about some beauties he saw this morning. One had this nice green hair. This other one had blondish silk hair, and she was pretty. They both had nice ass, nice boobs. Man, what I would do to get with this. Izuku and Katsuki both knew who he was talking about. When they stepped into class, Izuku had his katana that would normally be in his left hand unsheathed, and you could see the devastation and the deadly aura that was coming off him. Katsuki had a sly dark grin and looked at Mineta and Lightning Boy. So you think that they're pretty, huh? Those two women? Asked Katsuki. Yeah, they're hot stone milfs, is all that Mineta said. Wrong answer, said Izuku. He stepped forward and had his blade on Mineta's throat. Say they're hot milfs, I dare you, asked Izuku. They're stunning milfs. Before anything could happen, Aizawa had walked in and erased Izuku and Katsuki's had erased Izuku's Katsuki's quirk and had Izuku raised up using his scarf. You are not to fight your teammate. Now, sit in your seat, said Aizawa. Then they go through the day learning. They did introductions, and they found out that as Izuku and Shoto are stepbrothers, and yeah. So we go through the hero course class, and it goes a little different. Shoto, it's 1v1s. It was randomly chosen by All Might. The first person to go up is Izuku and Mineta. Katsuki just chuckled. You're gonna die, you know that, right? Said Katsuki. Mineta just said, no, I won't. He won't hit me. He won't kill me. As they stepped into the ring, before anyone could say anything, it was already finished. Before they could even blink, Mineta had cuts all over his body. His great balls had been cut off his head in half. He had a blade sticking in his... He wasn't dead, but he had cuts and bruises all over him. He had the tip of Izuku's blade at his throat, and another where his ding-along is, ready to stop. All Might had to get in and drag Izuku off him. Young Midoriya, what has got you like this? Asked All Might. Izuku just turned and looked him in the eyes. He said my mum is beautiful. He said he would do dirty thoughts he had about my mum. I'm going to kill him, and I'm going to make it pay. It's all that Izuku said before he was knocked out. Not very hero-like, but then he turned to Mineta. You will be dealt with, said All Might. The next fight was Katsuki versus Kirishima, and they bonded. And the rest of the fights weren't notable. Shoto just encased his Mina in ice. But that is where I'll leave it off, with Izuku, Katsuki, Mineta all in detention. I'll see you in the next part.